Here with djWHEAT. He's very busy. We actually have nothing to talk about, but we're running out of interviews because all the foreigners lost and they just left.
Right.
So we really had no one to interview, and we can't interview the Koreans because they gave the same answers every time. Like if you were a Korean and I had to ask you some questions, and I asked you how did you feel after your match? Let's just go ahead. You be a life MC, or not MC because he actually gives different answers, but life partying, all those guys. What would they say?
Good.
Okay, good. And your next opponent is some Kespeteran. How would you prepare for him? And what do you think his strategies will be?
I will beat him.
Oh, good. That's good. Do you respect your opponent as a player? You guys were on the same team.
Yes.
All right. And then that's pretty much
that
the
was
interview.
it.
Yeah.
That was it. So I could actually, since my career as a commentator, esports coverage guy is failing, I can actually go on and just be like a substitute Korean interviewee guy.
You know what they should do? They should hire someone that translates Korean and just have him make up stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just really good answers.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a few people, arguably, that know the Korean language that are going to know that it's bullshit, but I like this idea.
No, they'll do this. They'll ask the question.
Okay.
The player will whisper it in the interviewer's ear.
And then the interviewer will be like...
The translator will then...
Right. Okay, that works too.
Okay, so tell us about your family. What have you been up to lately?
My wife got her gallbladder removed, so
that must have been scary.
All you internet trolls that have been telling me that you want to punch my wife in the gallbladder... Sorry, man, your chance has come and gone. So she was having some stomach issues, and it took 2 trips to the ER to finally figure it out. In fact, it's nice to return to Dallas and be here on Sunday because last time I was in Dallas, I had done 1 match after the pregame show, and that's when I was told that I had to go basically back home because my wife was going to the ER. So I jumped on a plane, got on the last flight, got home, but we never figured out what happened. So...
that's scary, man.
Yeah, it is.
Happy it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, she got better. We finally got her home, and then it happened again. We were like at the casinos. We were gambling, having a great time.
You guys up or down?
We were up until my wife left because she wasn't feeling good, and then at that point I felt like that was permission to go full tilt if I needed to.
Wow.
So I did. So we
know who carries the team here.
We ended up completely, probably in the casino. So we ended up completely even that night. Probably her getting sick allowed me to walk away. I really, really like craps.
Okay.
I really just think it's a fun game. I'm just not very good at table card games, so roulette or craps. I'll play some slots. I mean, it's
slots. Come on, man.
Dude, slots are like the most relaxing thing. Like, I love going to Vegas and just walking into a hotel and just taking a massive whiff. Just the hotel. It just the casinos smell so good.
You're not
like
painting
maybe like
a good
money.
Picture
and
for
then
me here.
And then. That's just the sound of the casinos, like I don't know, it's like a zen-like trance. I mean, it's so easy to just roll through $100 on the craps table, but to roll through $100 on a slot machine, it takes a lot longer. So, plus the wife likes to play. I mean, it's fun,
Is that where you guys are gonna move to Vegas after
no.
mini-wheat leaves the nest?
No way.
No,
not gonna happen.
Okay, what's he doing these days?
Mini-Wheat has discovered Pokemon.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's over.
It's time.
His video game career is over.
So of course he chooses immediately. It's like, okay, cool. Let's get you some Pokemon games, and yeah, let's do that. Well, which one do you want? Well, I want Pokemon Coliseum for the GameCube. It's like, who the fuck has a GameCube anymore? Like a few guys out there. I'm sorry, but
Smash Melee.
Yeah, so like a good dad, I went and I bought the game, and then I just set it up to be emulated on his computer. So he's playing Pokemon Coliseum, he's playing through Black and White too. But the important thing is, and for anyone who has a kid growing up, arguably, or you're probably going to find them, getting involved in video games. It's a pretty common thing for kids, especially if you are a gamer yourself. Well, one of the hard things, of course, is things like reading comes up. It's like, how do you take someone who loves to play Left 4 Dead, Pokemon, Minecraft, and find some interesting reading material that would be like, oh, I really want to get. Well, Pokemon was the answer for us. So now we just give him these Pokemon books, and suddenly reading is the greatest thing in the world. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah. So suddenly
you guys just stumbled into being a good parent.
It's we read all the time. You could just tell as a Sideman reading.
Give him Game of
Tabby
Thrones.
the cat is fat, and now think about it. When you play Left 4 Dead and you're killing zombies and tanks and you're building giant things in Minecraft, do you think Tabby the cat is really that interesting? No, it's not. So, what is interesting? Ash and Pikachu's adventures. That shit's interesting.
And there's how much violence is in there? There's not that much violence.
Yeah,
there's no swearing.
Pokemon faint, so
it's very PG.
Yeah, they faint.
And they capture, but they treat them nicely.
Yeah.
Which one did he pick? You're allowed to pick one of the 3, right?
What do you mean? Which one?
Like when you start,
well, you have to see. So we got a Pokemon noob over here.
I know. I don't know anything about it.
Each generation of Pokemon actually introduces 3 additional starter Pokemon.
Okay.
So currently he is in, I believe it's 5th generation Pokemon, which is the Pokemon Black line, and I think it's Oshawott, who's his favorite one. I don't know, is a plant.
I know nothing about this. Is how all the casters must feel when people ask them about StarCraft.
You know what? Here's something that's also so crazy, right? So when a kid's learning to read, one of the most challenging things is learning sound pronunciation to put words together, especially ones that they don't understand. But on the flip side, you're sitting there and they might be struggling with the word, and you're like, okay, come on, you can do it. They finally get it. And then all of a sudden he's like, Daddy, I found out that Jigglypuff is. I'm like, wait, how'd you figure out how to put Jigglypuff together, by reading your little guy, but not, another. It's so weird that he can, this is cloister. It's like, dude, the cloister, that's got to be the hardest word for a freaking 7-year-old to figure out, but somehow, I know a lot of it's he hears.
He memorizes all 300 of them, and he can't memorize.
There's 650, dude.
Okay, look, I don't know that much about Pokemon. I watched the original series, maybe 3 episodes, and that's it. Okay.
That's okay.
Are you an expert now?
No, I'm not. If
I asked you what type, one of the.
You want to try right now?
I actually don't know that many.
Okay. Well, then the ones I would probably know what types they were, because they'd probably all be Gen 1 Pokemon.
Psyduck.
Psyduck is a psychic Pokemon.
Okay, I kind of gave you an easy one there.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know any of the other ones.
There you
I'm
go.
just gonna stop.
All right, I win.
Now.
100% win rate right there.
What's the very numerous little black circular ones that dash across the screen? Unknown or something? Unknown.
Well, it might be an unknown Pokemon type then.
No. It's in Smash Brothers Melee. It goes across the screen.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Okay. What have you been doing for fun outside of casting?
For fun, my fun consists of playing games, which...
What games?
Just beat the newest Tomb Raider, which I loved. If you're a fan of the originals, check it out.
She gets injured in this one.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really good. I love the original Tomb Raider. I mean, PS1 was one of my favorite consoles, and that was the dawn of Tomb Raider, so played the shit out of that. Obviously trying to get through Heart of the Swarm campaign. I feel like I played enough during the beta that I just kind of want to have some fun with the campaign. What else am I playing? Started the new God of War, but haven't finished it. Actually, only about 45 minutes in. Played a little bit of SimCity. Play some League of Legends.
The mayor?
What?
Your SimCity? What'd you name it?
Well, my first city was
Wheatville?
Woodbury, because I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Woodbury.
What'd you think about the second season? It's kind of slow.
Well, hold on. I want to tell you, because I also, I read a shitload of comics. That's the other thing I love to do. I want to spread the gospel of comics. They're the best.
Which ones? Which comic?
Right now, I'm actually going back in the future and reading Preacher, which I never had the chance to read. It's by one of my favorites, Warren Ellis, but I'm kind of going through all of his stuff. And right now, God, I picked up Frank Miller's RoboCop. I'm going through that. I just finished Just finished Fear Agent, which was amazing. Tony Moore is the artist on that, the guy that did the original 6 issues of The Walking Dead.
Oh, you're like a real...
Well, I'm not a superhero comic guy, though. I'm not like, you asked me about Wolverine and shit like that, and I couldn't tell you this from that. I could probably tell you, a few things here, but I've always felt like superhero comics were... I'm going to piss a lot of people off, but I feel like they're, in comparison to, let's just call them graphic novels, I think that superhero comics, like Watchmen, like Powers, like The Walking Dead, like Chew, these to me are my favorite types of comics. I just feel like the superhero comics tend to be hollow. Like, it's just, I've never read a superhero comic and gone like, oh my God, like that was amazing, or I just want to stare at this panel. And I don't know if it's like appreciation for art or the fact that it's not geared towards mature readers, because I really do like the more mature stuff. In fact, if you love mature comics, Marvel now has a line called Max, which is totally awesome. That is actually
Max,
MAX. They actually just started a Max line of Wolverine comic that's pretty nice, because Wolverine drops the F-bomb every time, because he would. He's Wolverine.
Yeah,
like, he's got claws that come out of his fist. I would be using the fucking F word a lot, too, if I was Wolverine. And it's super gory. So,
nice.
I think that they're starting to identify that, like, the comic book, the early generation of comic book collectors are growing up, and so there's even more...
When are you going to start mini-wheat on these?
Go
straight into the Max.
Can't read like any of the comics. In fact, Sean Day 9 is also a big comics guy.
Get him Ultimate Spider-Man.
And so I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay.
You asked if I had a funny story. So it was actually at the last MLG that was here, and we got to the room, and Sean was like, Marcus, let me ask you, have you ever read the comic Crossed before? Now, before I continue on with my story, Crossed is a comic that's sort of like a zombie comic, but what happens is these people get infected. They're called Crossed because they have this like weird scar on their face that looks like a cross.
Right.
And it's not really, like, they're not undead. What happens is, like, you lose all sort of morality, and you just revert back to like primal instincts. So the only thing Cross know to do is to kill and fuck. And so imagine like a zombie apocalypse like that, where it's just like people are going around. I want to read this
comic. I'm excited.
This comic, it is so brutally mature and absolutely crazy. So anyway, Sean's like, have you ever read Cross before? And I'm like, oh my God, like, I love Crossed. I think it is fucking great. And I start going into this big rant about how it's so good, and, Family Values is one of my favorites, and now I like how they're doing the bi-weekly stuff. And Sean's like, yeah, well, when I got to that first part when, the mom and the dad broke off from the rest of the group and they were with their kids, and, the next panel was basically the Crossed beheading the mom and dad and then sodomizing the kids.
Wow, okay.
I had to actually stop reading it. And at that point I was like, God, I just told Sean that I absolutely love this comic, that he was like, I want nothing to do with this thing. But I like the crazy shit, so.
That does sound absolutely ridiculous.
It sounds ridiculous, but again, it's all, like, the reason the story's so good is because it is about, people put into situations, and there's nothing supernatural about it. It is like, if the world was like it and this is what really happened, this is the cold hard truth. But Cross is great, man.
I'm gonna go home and read it right
especially
now.
All the Dave Latham stuff. He's so fucking awesome.
Great.
Anyway.
I'm happy you carried this interview, man. I don't have to ask you anything. I was trying to prep before this, and it was just silly.
You were. It just takes a while to get rolling.
Yeah.
So.
You want to give any shout-outs to people?
Well, if anyone wants to give me some comic suggestions, because it's one of my favorite things to do. A lot of people will be like, well, hey, if you like this or that, then check this out. So tweet me.
I want you to email me a list of comics I should read, and I will talk to you about it.
I will. I honestly should just write a post of recommended reading, because I get that question a lot, but there's just so much good stuff out there.
Okay. All right. So, well, I'm a blank slate of comic readership. So if you have like 5 maybe that you would recommend, but for someone that needs to start
honestly, you should start with something that has an end.
Okay.
Because, for example, The Walking Dead, it's still going on.
I
So you
read the
get
first thing of that, actually.
The first what thing? Trade?
There's
Like
like
first
a
6
volume or
issues?
whatever,
Okay, so
yeah.
the first 6 issues, which is great. But like by the time it gets to, they're currently on issue 108. By the time it gets to there, it's a whole new ballgame. But
Okay.
something like Wise the Last Man would be a great read. It's like 60 comics, and it's an incredible story. It's about the last guy on Earth, and everyone else is female, and his monkey.
Oh, that sounds not
It's
so
totally
bad.
awesome because the main character, Yorick, is just such a good character, and it makes for a good read. So.
Okay, I'll read it. I'll read that one.
Wise
And
the Last
Crossed.
Man. And Crossed. Crossed, actually, if you want a taste of Crossed, go to Crossed has not only their normal publications, but Crossed webcomic. They actually release a comic. It's called Wish You Were Here. It's like, so a lot of different authors and artists have gotten in on this line, you know, like they'll just get different stories from them. So it all takes place in this universe. But there's one, it's called Wish You Were Here, and it's released every week. So you get like this online mini comic.
Okay.
If you can't handle that, it's tame compared to
so
the
it's
cross
like the
trade.
primer,
So
right?
it is the
Okay.
primer, even though it's like the 9th or 10th story, but they don't necessarily have any continuity
okay.
other than the universe.
Okay, you can continue with the shout out. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just want to give a shout out to, I want to give a shout out to all the great people in esports, just that I get a chance to see and at every single event. It's the one thing a lot of people will never really get to appreciate. On the outside looking in, there's a lot of great people, but getting to see Heyoka, Hotbid, and there's Red over there. It's just like I love to be able to come here and see these same people over and over, and it is to feel like one giant family. So shout outs to all you guys, and let's hope that esports lives for a very long time.
Yeah. Thank you, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you.